Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tuned.
If you have a request or shout out, hit us up live in the studio. And now your host.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Showbiz, where we keep it real and slay. I'm your host, and with me as always is the lovely co-host Shantae Rass.
Bonjour everybody, and welcome back. Today marks our 4th episode of Let's Talk Showbiz, and we have another jam-packed and fun-filled episode lined up for you.
We had an absolute blast last week in studio with our guest Richard Gao, a man with many talents and projects in the theatre and film industry. For those that missed it, you can go and catch it up. All of the previous episodes by downloading the podcast for each episode, available on our website or on Brand Live's website or on our YouTube channel.
Also be sure to keep tabs on our Facebook page and Instagram at Let's Talk Showbiz as we post the episode updates and news to keep you in the loop of the things discussed here on air. Also feel free to tag us in your posts to share any new or upcoming events in the industry. We would love to hear from you and our South African gems.
And joining us later in studio is Patrick and George Garcia. Patrick, he's a South African film director, producer, writer, and all-around animation and FX guru. So stay tuned. So we have some great things to share with you guys with these two guests in studio.
Heading into our first segment of the show, What's Hot? Let's have a look at what's lit in the local and international industry. Exploring the world of television. Warner Brothers and HBO sci-fi series Westworld is launching its 3rd season with showrunners including Jonathan Nolan, promising that it will bring a radical shift, while Aaron Paul has been confirmed for a pinnacle role in the new season. Also in the pipeline, much-loved Antonio Banderas is being strongly eyed for a role in Season 3, so watch this space to find out more.
And after 7th season is coming to this, winter is here. The long night is threatening the scene, and Jon Snow still knows nothing. With Game of Thrones due to wrap up next year, HBO has confirmed that the 8th season will start airing in April 2019.
Regarding new adventures for the South African market and production companies, amongst many new exciting series that will be launched from mid to end of 2019, a new production company, Windmill Productions, will be partnering with international creators and producers, including for a brand new English series, which will be released in 2019, starring an amazing cast of up-and-coming and established artists. So watch this space and find out more updates coming soon. And Let's Talk Showbiz will be the press conference, which will be released next year.
And then in the film bus, what's hot? Meanwhile, for J.K. Rowling fans that have been preparing for the much-anticipated release of Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, starring Johnny Depp, The Fantastic Beasts releases today in cinemas worldwide.
Yes! Also, have a look at our South African films, which have been launched in cinema in this season, including Canary, starring... How do you say it?
Canary.
Yeah, starring the comedy star Scott Poseidonite and the Chokolosi, telling a story about a terrifying predator. Also, the Japanese Embassy has launched their Japanese Pop Culture Festival hosted at the University of Pretoria, featuring Japanese documentaries and Japanese film classics, also including screenings of Studio Ghibli animation as well as episode launch of Magna series. So that will be quite exciting for those students.
Interesting. And here in South Africa, the African Animation Network and Discop Market features the Disc Comics Joburg segment, bringing a networking platform for comic books, animators, and video game talents to pitch their projects to international buyers and producers. The Discop, which was featured this week at the Sandton Convention Center, 20 creators, graphic designers, game developers, and animators were offered the chance to attend the Discop and to enjoy VIP privileges, including the meeting pod in the Disc Comics umbrella, which leaves us with an exciting new potential platform for South African animation world.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't imagine how much that opportunity must be. Yo. And seeing that we're in the world of animation, which is also directly linked in with our guest here in studio today. On Tuesday, we got our first new look at Woody and Buzz Lightyear for the first time in 8 years when the first teaser dropped for Toy Story 4. And now, hot off its heels, we've got another brand new look at the sequel. A second teaser is here introducing the new characters Ducky and Bunny. Fairground plushes voiced by comedy duo Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele. Toy Story 4, directed by Josh Cooley, will arrive in cinemas the 21st June 2019.
And as for Comic-Con, as mentioned last week in the episode, the second installment of Comic-Con Africa has been confirmed, and it will be held at the Gallagher Convention Centre in Midrand, Johannesburg, from the 21st till the 24th of September 2019.
Yes, the second installment promises bigger and better to its fans, so be sure to get your tickets, start prepping your cosplay outfits, and keep an eye out for new updates of who and what comic adventures will be featured.
And also on the comic front, a new comic book store, Heroes and Games and Comics, opened in Sandton Mall last week, accompanied by Comic-Con, with an epic display of cosplay dress-up, fun for the fans at the launch.
Yeah, I was actually there. It was very exciting to see some of the cosplay
Cool.
celebrities, there and with their outfits, and also with some of their kids playing with the outfits like Toonybug and more.
Oh, that's cool.
This is a store at the heart of Marvel and DC and more, supplying an epic range of comics, action figures, and other collectibles, costumes, and more. So be sure to give the store a visit and also follow their Instagram at Heroes of Games and Comics to keep up with their events and specials. You can also be sure to find the stores pop up at the next Comic-Con Africa event.
I'm quite excited for next year. This year was very, very, very great. Comic-Con this year was amazing, apart from the long walk. But what's very cool is we will also talk about it a little bit later with our guest here in studio. But our guest, which are from Act Films, they actually had their film Hell Trip
Yeah, and
screened
you actually saw it.
Yes, and it was awesome. But we'll talk about that just in a bit. In the music biz here in South Africa,
As Callum Scott's SA tour wrapped up this weekend, leaving fans extremely impressed and satisfied with an amazing concert, the Chainsmokers have announced this week that they too will be performing in South Africa for the first time as they headline Ultra South Africa in 2019.
and keeping with the tradition, we have been teasing weekly releases of the Greatest Showman reimagined album since our first episode, sharing exciting news with our listeners as well-known artists drops the popular anthem music of the film The Greatest Showman. We've heard the Pink rendition of Million Dreams, followed by the release of The Greatest Show last week by Panic at the Disco, which we have shared on our Facebook page. This week, as you can hear, was the release of Kelly Clarkson's version of Never Enough, and This Is Me by Kesha. Both is available on iTunes now.
So if you listen up, here's a sneak peek of Kelly Clarkson's Never Enough.
And we will be sharing the links for the YouTube and iTunes things on our Facebook page.
Cool. And tonight at 7 p.m, the band IV4 will be hosting their album launch titled I Believe at Arcade Empire in Pretoria. The band will be rocking out with other bands Boxer and Little Ringo. Be sure not to miss the collaboration of musos and be sure to get your first and own copy of the album. Tickets are available at the door, so do not miss this one. It's going to be fabulous.
And SA Idol still running strong at season 14, are down to their top 2 finalists. It's Yanga Sibetwa and Tatu Makape, so be sure to tune in and vote for your favorites. And with the Skyrockets rating, Idols SA will be back again for a season 15 next year.
Yes, again. And on the competition front, a quick reminder that the competition running for our What's Hot segment, where you stand a chance to win free movie tickets. This entries close at 30th of November, so make sure you post your movie selfie with the correct hashtags and tags on social media before then, and stand a chance to win your free movie tickets. For details of the competition, please check out our Facebook page at Let's Talk Showbiz.
Yes, we have been posting that on our Facebook page. There is also a photo where we explain how the competition works, the T's and C's and everything that you have to do in order to enter for the competition. And you can go and watch any of the previous top 5 films, or you can watch one of the new top 5 films, which we are diving into now. The top 5 films in box office as of this week. Our previous number 1 drops to number 5 this week, Halloween, still continuing to gross the box office figures very high.
And making its way down 2 spots from second place, A Star Is Born, ranking 4th place this week, but it's still fabulous enough to make the top 5.
And I still haven't seen it.
No!
It's okay. I saw something amazing last night. Wink, wink.
Ooh, okay.
In 3rd place, a new film making its rank to the top 5 is another great Tyler Perry classic, Nobody's Fool, featuring featuring Tiffany Haddish, Amber Riley, best known for her role as Mercedes in Glee, and Whoopi Goldberg.
Ooh. And also new in the top 5 is the new Disney film, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, ranking at second place with over $97 million in box office worldwide during its first week. The film features well-known actors like Helen Mirren, Morgan Freeman, Keira Knightley, and Mackenzie Foy.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know Mackenzie Foy, she is well known for her role as Edward and Bella's daughter in Twilight Saga Breaking Down Part 2. Just to put that out there. And finally, you've guessed it, in first place is the must-see Bohemian Rhapsody, starring Rami Malek, and it's grossing over $286 million worldwide in its release. And I have to say, I can see why.
I'm so jealous.
Rami Malek featured that role perfectly. I was last night invited by the Movember Foundation. So Nightlight Productions hosts an annual charity event every year, and because of our event that we hosted last year, I got invited by the Movember Foundation to go to the pre-screening, the exclusive pre-screening last night for Bohemian Rhapsody. It's released today in cinemas, but we got to see it last night, and it was fantastic. Rami Malek portrays Freddie Mercury absolutely phenomenal. Like, honestly, I wanted to jump up on my chairs and dance and sing with everything. Like, knowing the story of Freddie Mercury as you grow up and knowing the music of Freddie Mercury is amazing. But seeing it on the big screen, seeing their trials and tribulations and how everything came together, it's absolutely amazing. And if Rami doesn't get an Oscar for this film, then there's something wrong.
And yet again, I must add that technically I got the tickets, but you know, I'm such a good person, so I just gave it to Niku. Like... and then jumping back to the Marvel Universe, as much as we can advertise positive and promote educational news revolving our industry, it is with sadness that we salute and share the memory of Stan Lee, Marvel Comics legend who has passed away on Monday at the age of 95.
Stan Lee was the most influential, motivational, and awe-inspiring person to many, so much so that millions of people took the time to follow his death and comment about the impact that Stan Lee's creations had on their lives. The power of Stan Lee's imagination and the reach of his storytelling was praised greatly by many, including Chris Evans, who plays Captain America, who tweeted, "There will never be another Stan Lee. For decades, he provided both young and old with adventures, escape, comfort, confidence, inspiration, strength, friendship, and joy. He exuded love and kindness and will leave an incredible mark in so many lives."
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of people that contribute to the industry in such a large fashion, and Marvel has had such a big platform to speak into the lives of younger generations growing up. I mean, even our generation. What I can say, though, you know, we learn from the people above us.
Definitely.
And I can just sort of pray and hope that our industry and our up-and-coming artists and established artists right now also step into that space, not necessarily in the Marvel front, but in their own front, their own niche, and create such a mark that can inspire and develop and build minds. Because I can actually say, even though it's fiction, even though it's all that stuff, it has really shaped characteristics of many people.
Very, very much. Marvel has done that. And on the positive side, we will be able to see Stan Lee in his very last cameo appearance in the new Avengers movie coming out. So they have said that, fortunately, they have shot some of the stuff, and he's most known for making all these little cameos in all these films.
Yeah.
And they actually have already filmed the part where he is going to be in. So we'll be able to see Stan Lee for the last time in his final Avengers film.
And there you have it, another great session of what's hot locally and internationally. Keep up to speeds with your weekly dose of news and entertainment right here on Let's Talk Showbiz every Friday from 11:30 to 12:30. You are also welcome to tag us at Let's Talk Showbiz on any media regarding industry gems and upcoming events.
Or you can invite us to your shows, premieres, or productions as we constantly try to promote local talent in South Africa.
Yes.
Hashtag local empowerment, hashtag Mzansi for sure.
Yes.
We will be taking a short break, and when we return, we will have Patrick and George Garcia here with us in studio talking about the film industry, their current projects and films. Remember, if you've got any questions for our guest here in studio, inbox us on Facebook at our page Let's Talk Showbiz, and we'll be right back.
This is what you missed on brandlife.co.za.
Yesterday, I mean, as bored as you were at home.
There was that whole Malusi girl.
So, I mean,
Yeah. Hey, that's some other.
And just before I sign out, Alusi Gigaba must resign. No, okay, let me not put it like that. But the whole Gigaba situation is out of control. Anywhere else in the world, people would do the right thing.
Yes, it did appear in one of the classic pulp fiction movies. And that's a Freudian slip. The Pulp Fiction movie.
What's up?
What's up? This is your host, Nico Barnard.
And your co-host, Shantae Russ on Let's Talk Showbiz.
Tune in every Friday at 11:30 to hear more about what's new and what's hot in the film, theatre and music industry locally and internationally, featuring special guests every week.
Get clued in the world of the up-and-coming gems and established artists and industry professionals every Friday.
That's Let's Talk Showbiz every Friday at 11:30 right here on Brand Live.
Is your show.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Let's Talk Showbiz. It's 40 minutes to 12. We're moving into our second segment of the show, and joining us in studio as our guest is Patrick Garcia and George Garcia. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Lovely to have you on board. Just to give a guest bio, Patrick Garcia is a South African film director, producer, writer, and all-round animation and VFX guru. Patrick Garcia has been in the film and television industry for over 16 years, having specialized in both live action and animation feature films. His unique vision and way of storytelling, rapid pace edits, stylistic visuals, and pragmatic use of special effects makes him one of South Africa's most dynamic and creative directors.
The Zens is a 3D animated hit TV series for which he won Best Short Animated Film in 2008, earning his reputation as one of Africa's leading animation film directors.
Patrick has directed many television commercials and has worked alongside some of the most talented animators and industry artists from Pixar Animation, DreamWorks, Triggerfish Animation, and Pixar Animation.
Patrick recently launched the gripping horror thriller Hell Trip at the Comic-Con Africa 2018 and Horror Fest in South Africa.
His current film projects, either in development, production, or post-production, include the multi-million-dollar 3D animated sci-fi The Body Defenders, Last Sacrament, Magic Lost in Transformation, which is starring the award-winning actor John Savage, Rise of the Dome, Entity, and action sci-fi, and more.
Patrick is also the founder, director, and CEO of Act Animation Films, a visual effects and animation studio based in Johannesburg, and has since produced visual effects for numerous top US, UK, and Australian production companies. Patrick is also the CEO of Act Films, a live-action feature film division, with his partner George Garcia here with us in studio. Patrick's co-producer, co-writer on many of his films and ventures.
Patrick Garcia has had the honor of working with some of the best actors, producers, directors, VFX artists, and animators in our industry, some of which include the legendary bodybuilder and celebrity actor Arnold Schwarzenegger, the legendary Samuel Lee Jackson,
Hugh Jackman, director Daryl James Ruud, the world-famous master magician and illusionist Dynamo, I'm jealous,
Navy SEAL and survivalist Jewel Lambert, and Hollywood producer Gilbert Adler, to mention but a few. So Patrick, we are quite glad to have you in studio with us today. We also have the privilege of having his business partner George Garcia in studio with us, so welcome, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With such an amazing and extensive resume of accomplishments within the film industry, what has been the highlight for you in your career thus far?
I think every day is a new adventure, right? So that's going to be a hard question to top because every day we're faced with something new, and we're always looking to new and exciting projects. So in my career, I think I'd spend the whole day here talking about that.
Probably whatever we're currently working on, I'd say, would be our priority at that point in time. And obviously, as that finishes, we look forward to the next one.
And you guys have some amazing projects lined up, which is exciting, and I'm sure that you guys are very excited about that. You know, just delving into that. Tell us a bit more about Act Animation and Act Films and what it is that you guys do there. What are some of the work that you've done and that you're involved with, and just give the listeners a breakdown of that.
So we have two different divisions. Act Animation Films specializes in 3D animation, a lot like what you expect from Toy Story, Pixar's wonderful franchise. We also do visual effects, which we use for live action features. Then we got another production company called Act Films, which specializes mostly in live action films. What we do is we create slates of films, so we work with 5 movies at a time. So often we're at different stages of production. We're in pre-production, post-production, or getting ready in development for our next feature. So yeah, I mean, we're often very, very busy. We also have people approach us from co-production companies from overseas looking to do their films here in South Africa. So we assist with that. We look at assisting with, co-funding, co-producing. So it all depends on the spectrum and on the project, on a project-by-project basis.
Okay, perfect. And with regards to Act Animation, so you guys obviously do some of your own 3D animation and visual effects work, but do you also do work for other companies and collaborations with other companies with that section of animation?
Well, I think because we've been quite busy, a lot of our manpower has been allocated to our own features at the moment. However, we always do have.
We have done for commercials as well, and that we've actually used the animation division for local productions as well, commercials and that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Awesome. What has your experience been working with such amazing animators?
Oh, animators are a different kind of culture. They have such good hearts. They're such passionate people. They're very giving, hardworking. They have such beauty in their hearts. Everything they see has some kind of humor to it. So it's seeing it through their eyes is like spending your life as a child. And everything is magical. Nothing's impossible. And with a team like that, you can create anything. You can create any futuristic world. You can build any set. You can make anything. Superimpose anything. So the sky's the limit, really, when working with them. So, my work shirt comes off, and we jump into we put on our Stan Lee T-shirts and our Iron Man, vests and Captain America. And we get behind the computer and we graft. We work very hard at producing the content behind this.
Fantastic. So your recent film, Hell Trip, which screened at Comic-Con this year, and I got the honor to see it, whoop whoop. Really, really liked it, by the way. Tell the listeners more about the film and about the experience at Comic-Con.
So George and I, about 2 years prior to shooting Hell Trip, knew we wanted to do a really well done, executed horror film, but it wasn't going to be just about making a horror movie. We wanted something that could tell the very real reality of what happens if you happen to get led astray by a tour guide who takes you on this journey and things go horribly wrong, and people all over the world are traveling, and it kind of made us think about, what if we were to incorporate that into it?
Yeah, it was taking a group of tourists, obviously purely a holiday, and then get thrown into this mix that they didn't want anything to do with. But, there is reality out there. Certain things like that do happen. So it was a lot about characterization as well. And obviously there's events that kind of unfold around them that they didn't expect. So we want a bit of heart with it, characterization with it, and obviously at the same time make it a horror and a bit of a thriller.
So we eventually got to shooting the movie after months of prep and location scouting. Got there, shot the film in record time because, movies take... a good movie takes about 5 weeks, 6 weeks at least to shoot. We shot it in 18 days.
Oh, wow.
And if you subtract the 2 days off, which was more like 16 days.
Plus the shift to evening, so
plus
you lost another day there.
So we lost a day. We had all kinds of horrific stories on set, which I'm not going to get into, but, the very real problems. We also had a drought, when it was one of the hottest seasons in South African history, recorded history, and it was just everything. All the elements were stacked against us, but everything worked out. The crew came together. The cast were phenomenal, amazing actors, and we pulled off a really good movie, and cinematically so. And of course, we got the privilege of showcasing it at Comic-Con, which was the inaugural Comic-Con here in South Africa, which was fantastic. Also launched it at Horror Fest in Cape Town.
Yeah, a few weeks later. That was 2 weeks later.
Yeah, a great reception, both. We've also got a few more screenings lined up, so we'll be talking about that shortly. We're also giving away some tickets. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Oh, yeah. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, and so about Hell Trip, you had some amazing cast. Like I said, I got the privilege to go and watch it at Comic Con. So the cast that was involved.
Pulling that one out.
You haven't told us that.
It's Brownie Prince, So
wait, did you go see it? What? Never. Shocker.
So mention some of the cast that was involved, and you also spoke about. So obviously, it's an international film. It's a group of Americans that comes to South Africa. That's what the story is revolving around. So mention some of the people that was involved in the film, but also for interesting fact, where actually did you film this in South Africa?
Sure.
Because you were mentioning about it was drought and
that's right. So the key for us was not to go too far. We didn't want to travel 9 hours away from where we centralized in Joburg. So
we did that in the end. Anyway.
We kind of did that in the end anyway. But we went to Tsenin in Limpopo, and we also shot in Belfast at a place called Larkenvlei. Beautiful place. I mean, you literally are secluded in the woods, cabins all around you, luscious waterfalls in obviously in Limpopo side. That very thick bush, which gives you that real feeling of isolation and desperation.
I think that comes across in the movie.
Comes across, yes, cinematically. And also, we in terms of talking about the cast here, we had the great Clayton Boyd, who played our lead, a phenomenal actor. We had Jay Anasty. I'm sure everyone knows Jay. She's been in quite a few films.
Jay.
Yeah, sure. And I'm going to leave someone out here, but I try to run through it off the top of my head. We had Sidney Gilroy, we had Steve Lamarck, we had Michelle van der Nest, we had Ivan Nedlovic. I hope I'm saying his surname right. Yeah. He's going to kill me. We had Jonathan Boynton Lee, Jade Hubner from Top Billing as well. Cool. So. I think that's everyone.
You had a great cast. Have
Candace
to say,
Weber
had a very, very great cast. Everyone fit their role perfectly, and they executed it phenomenally.
Thank you.
I can imagine with like the heat and the traveling and everything that it added to their acting.
Yes. Method acting.
Well, let's talk about how we arrived at that cast. We did something that most South Africans don't do. We put it out there, to the general public. And so we had it out there in the general public. We also notified, talent agencies about it. And by doing that, we had a complete flood of submissions. We had about 3,000 submissions. Yeah. So I think it was day 2 when we had put it on a couple of groups, and it actually crashed our service. So we had to get that back online very quickly because it wasn't meant for that kind of traffic. And we sorted out the problem, and of course we had to filter through all those people. And then we shortlisted it to about 150,
and we did
100
the casting
people,
with that,
and we did the casting with that. And we went from there. So it's amazing how many talented people there are out there.
Damn.
But you followed the same. I think you also followed the same procedure with your other film, The Last Sacrament, right?
Correct. Last Sacrament was actually a better turnout in terms of the response. It was 11,000 people.
Yeah.
So that was quite engaging. The great thing is those are potential people who already are interested in this kind of film. You've already kind of hit home straight away to an audience that is very excited about those kind of films.
Yeah, exactly.
So Last Sacrament was shot now in January, and it's a very different kind of film to Hell Trip, in that it's probably a lot darker. It's a very dark horror.
Preview teaser poster I saw.
Correct. So but it's more of I would say it's somewhere between The Hand That Rocks the Cradle and Skeleton Key. So if you enjoy those kind of films, if you kind of mesh them together, you have something in the reign of The Last Sacrament.
I think what's exciting about the way that you're doing your castings, and then we'll continue with the questions. I think what's exciting about the way that you're doing the castings is two things. It's one, you're opening up a platform for local artists and actors out there that aren't necessarily with agents. You're opening up the platforms and the doors for anyone that are aspiring to be an actor to get involved and to get a chance. To get a chance to possibly audition. It's a great platform because majority of the time when there's a big feature film, they just go with agents. They just go to the top agents. Whereas with what you guys do, you create a platform for people
New faces, fresh faces.
New fresh faces, exactly. And it's also like a win-win for you, like you just said, because now you've got 11,000 people that wanted to be in the film. If you cast 10 people, you've got 10,990 or 10,900 people that will watch the film because they know about it.
Yeah,
so it's a good marketing strategy.
We wanted to do a zombie movie, so there's your 11,000 people in your movie.
The funny thing was with Hell Trip, going back to the casting, a lot of the people that we obviously shortlisted, a lot of them actually said, they'll play the dead bodies. So we actually had on the form, as part of the casting,
dead body.
and a lot of them came in saying already dead body or corpse, corpse. And it was so funny because we had thousands of people literally were saying
dead body, dead body, dead body.
I am corpse today. Tomorrow I'll be a zombie.
You can imagine it wasn't very easy to do auditions with that. I lie on the floor. Keep still.
Look jerky.
Look dead.
I have to ask a fun question.
Sure.
You can both of you can answer separately. Animation or film? What's your more fun one? What's your favorite one? I know each one is vast.
Yeah.
But if you were forced into a certain category, whether it was writing, directing, or producing, or whatnot, which one would you go for? Drum roll.
Okay, from my point of view, to be honest with you, I know Patrick, big time animation. It's been his love since he was young. I mean, he was playing video games and he was studying how they did the animation as opposed to how you play the game. So I know that was always his forte. For me, I must say I love both genres completely. Though I think an easier way of doing movies is live action. The time involved, etc., is way easier. It really is.
Yes.
You also get immediate returns because you can see the actor straight away on screen. If it doesn't work, get them to do it differently. I can imagine with animation, it's a lot harder because if you do it and it doesn't look right, it's back to the rendering process. It's a lot harder. So I probably got the easy route, but I would definitely say both equally. Yeah, but yes, I'm sure Patrick's got his views on that one.
So the thing with animation is that you have unlimited resources really at your disposal. You don't have to worry about how many lights you have on set or if you've gone over budget in that sense. The sky's the limit. You can free your imagination.
And you can make a sky.
You can make a sky. And you can make a universe. And you can tell a story in a way that's not limited by reality or physics, Not that you can't do that nowadays with live action movies, but budget will always be a problem in so long as that you are an independent filmmaker. The moment you move towards the studio side and a studio is paying you to do a new Avatar or something, on that scale, then maybe, live action becomes far more exciting because you can now do what you want to do without any limits. So I think I like that animation has the limitless aspect to it, but I really do enjoy live action, and I really do enjoy having an immediate captured response. We can immediately see what we shot, and it's instantaneous. It's rewarding in that sense. Whereas animation takes years,
patience.
And patience. It's a patience game. It's a marathon, and live action is a sprint.
Yeah. Wow. So on that note. Sorry, I saw the name wrong. My fault. Sorry. So on that note, just going back to Comic-Con, Hell Trip was released at Comic-Con, and then I want to also ask about The Lost Sacrament, but we'll get there now. Are you guys excited for the return of Comic-Con 2019? And are you possibly going to be involved again?
Absolutely. No, we're definitely going to be there. You can count on it. You can bet your bottom dollar. It's, Comic-Con is very much something that some of the people that I've worked with have spent many years trying to get into South Africa. And now that it's here and that the first one was a complete success, you can expect bigger and bigger things from Comic-Con. So...
It was lovely done, I must say. I was very impressed. I've been to, some of the smaller ones that have happened over the few years, and I've always wanted to go to one of these proper international feel. And I must say, they really lived up to it, honestly. I thought, are they going to get it right? It's the first year. But I must say, excellent job,
from the cosplay
honestly, the artists that were there, really, even the actors, the international actors that they had there, awesome, really.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I have to say so myself. They did an exceptional, even though some of the people, dropped out at last minute, it still was worth it.
Yes.
Are you guys excited about the venue change? Do you agree with that? Were you happy with
we were actually discussing that. there was a couple of issues I think with the last one, which we won't go into,
Like
about
parking.
parking. Parking was the big thing, and the
Yeah.
entrances. You go meet someone, and I'm here. I'm in entrance 3. Well, which is
What is
entrance
it?
3? So those kind of things. But in reality, that we needed that kind of parking space,
Yeah,
as you could
Yeah.
see, because
There
at
was
the end of the day, it was a ton of people.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was great, and so I think Gallagher will offer a new kind of look. I think it'll be more personalized, in the sense that instead of moving certain events and exhibitions away from each other, it'll be a little bit closer together. So people will get to see sides that they had already missed. I mean, I was speaking to people who said, I didn't even know those sections were there, because they didn't go to those levels.
Same here. I heard only afterwards. That was then. That was like, where was that?
Baymax.
Correct.
Yeah, like I missed Baymax.
RDD2. I must actually ask, with your screening there, obviously you guys had another compartment. What was your experience with that, actually, presenting your company there?
So, in terms of exhibiting the film or exhibiting the movie as a whole at Comic-Con?
Did you guys have like a talk as well?
So we had 3
Yes.
panels there. Yeah, we had an animation panel. It was an animation and visual effects panel, which we got to talk to a lot of the interested South African animators and artists out there. And we spoke to them about the industry, about the different stages of production and the pipeline of making a film, where you can go study it, the A to Zs of production. And then we had another panel on prosthetics, for those people who love, being on site and makeup and wounds and guts and all kinds of stuff.
That's where the dead bodies come in.
And then we sort of talked about how you marry the two together, and how to save money if you're an independent filmmaker. How would you get really good effects but without spending or breaking the bank? So we did that, and then we had obviously the Hell Trip panel, which was great. We had all the actors there, and it was really nice to see the crew all together again and the cast together again.
And for a lot of people, well, I think for everybody, it was actually the first time they'd actually seen the movie that night too.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see their reactions, because it wasn't like they kind of knew what was coming.
Yeah. So it was rewarding.
Yeah,
for
it was
them.
rewarding.
And I imagine that with the panel discussions, that the audience feedback was quite intrigued to have those platforms available to them.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that you never get when you go to a cinema house. You just don't get the chance to ask the filmmakers or the actors that have just seen this movie any questions. So it was really nice to engage with the audience and to hear their responses to your movie.
Wow, I wish I was there. Next year! So we will be taking a short break, and when we return, we will continue with our interview with Patrick Garcia and George Garcia, animation and horror gurus. We will also be delving more into the horror genre, so stay tuned.
And it's 7 minutes past 12. Remember, if you have any questions for our guest here in studio, inbox us on Facebook at our Facebook page, Let's Talk Showbiz, and we'll be right back.
Yes.
Live.co.za.
Alvera, do you have it?
This is new. I'm the first in line to celebrate others but never myself. I'm part of the few that say, I'm a beautiful mess. I try to pay more attention to the beauty in the details so I could see less of the mess, but my mess traces me so beautifully, pinpointing my authenticity. From the melanin in my skin to the kinks in my hair, I know it's not fair. I'm beautiful, but so are you, in your own special way. See, the inequality in this world has brought about issues of race and gender. But I promise you, if you remove the speck from your eye, you'll see that there's no difference between you and I.
Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
There we go.
This is your show.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Showbiz. In studio with us is Patrick Garcia and George Garcia, two men that have done some incredible work in the film industry and who has a niche for the horror genre. So
Patrick, why did you decide to go into the horror genre?
Actually,
asked both of them.
Actually, before we delve into the questions, we just got some exciting
Suspense.
news. Yeah, we got some exciting news from Patrick and George here. For all of the listeners, please listen out. So George and Patrick are going to give away 10 free tickets to the screening of Hell Trip in cinema on the 20th of December. So, the first 10 people that inbox us now on Facebook at Let's Talk Showbiz, if you message us now on our Facebook page, the first 10 people will win a free ticket to the screening of Hell Trip on the 20th of December. And it will be screening where?
At Kalani Mall.
Kalani Mall.
Just do it. Now.
So, the first 10 people, cool.
Don't miss out.
Okay, so now you can continue with the question.
Well, now, Garcias. What can we call you? Like nickname, the Garcia brothers?
Garcia brothers.
Does it work? I mean, they could like make a whole new production company, the Garcia brothers. Why did you decide to go into the horror genre?
Okay, well, apart from the fact that I actually love horrors, it's a genre I've always enjoyed. It was actually a more logical reason to...
A tactical decision.
Tactical decision. One of the main reasons being the fact that, with a horror movie, you can get away with a cast that's not necessarily A-listers. Mm-hmm. If you actually watch any like horror movies, you'll see that a lot of times they don't have like an A-list Hollywood actor or whatever.
Why? Because you kill them off.
Yeah, and people are kind of they're almost used to that. It's kind of like you don't know who's going to be the main actor in that, so you kind of watch for the suspense, and then they kind of get killed off slowly, and then that emerges as the main person. Yeah, so for a tactical point of view, yeah.
So if you were to do a drama or a comedy or whatever, you would have to attach someone fairly well known, in your movie to find US distribution and to get your movie done. So that's kind of
so the international scope.
For the international perspective. Obviously, if you just tend to do a domestic release, if you just wanted to release in South Africa, it really wouldn't matter. But it comes down to that specific. The other thing is horror releases dopamine. Your dopamine levels change, and believe it or not, that's, it comes down to the fact that people have a physiological change or reaction to horror. So it makes for a kind of a where do you get your fix kind of thing, that's where people go to
the adrenaline junkies.
Junkies. But I mean, actually, George and I really love science fiction. Science fiction's our first and probably our most passionate, and hence why our next film is actually a bit of sci-fi and thriller, which is great.
So you like merging.
So, but horror is a great starting platform for us, I think, and it's a big market as well.
Cool.
So, with regards to the previous film that we mentioned, The Last Sacrament, what is the update with that? When will it come out? When will people be able to get the info and the deets of that? I'm sure that, with the excitement of Hell Trip coming out, people are pretty keen and pretty curious like me to know when The Last Sacrament is making its debut.
I think we found your number one fan.
Well, we're probably, and I don't want to be held to this, but we're currently in post-production. Our effects team and everyone's so busy working on the editing and the visual effects for the film. So if we're lucky, we'll probably look at another Comic-Con release, hopefully for next year. That will probably be its debut. So that you can expect probably when was what was that? September.
Yeah. So that's what we're aiming for. But I mean,
but things can change, and of course our pipeline
Of
is filling up quite extensively.
And, you're running quite a lot of projects at the same time.
Hope that we can manage with that. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, what advice would you guys give to aspiring filmmakers out there?
Well, never give up. I think that's the main thing we've learned is, if you've set your mind to doing something, there's usually obstacles along the way, but honestly, just stick to it. Believe in your vision. If you've got a story to tell the story. Even if everyone's telling you, no, maybe you shouldn't do horror, maybe you shouldn't do this, just go with your gut feel.
Yeah.
Believe in your vision.
Don't listen to what everyone else says. People are going to doubt you. People are going to say you can't do it. People are going to not give you the credit that you deserve. People are going to walk around you and think that you can't achieve those things. Don't worry about that. Worry about what you're busy trying to do and trying to achieve.
Stay true to the project.
And focus on it and give everything you have to achieving that goal.
That's very good advice.
So apart from everything that we've already mentioned, what is new in the pipeline for your company?
Well, we're shooting a movie now in January called The Construct. It's a sci-fi thriller. That's our next film that we're turning. We've got a few others. I don't want to talk about them yet because
They're still kind of
still in the
still in development stages.
Yeah,
but just know that some of our films will be bigger and better, and that's where we intend to go. Our long-term vision is to produce a steady stream of films for the international market, and hopefully, that when I say international, by no way do I mean not South Africa, but South Africa is, I think, to a large degree, still set in a certain way of thinking when it comes to specific purchases of movies and how they do it. So it's a very tricky way in which to engage that market.
Yeah. Perfect. So I know we previously mentioned something like that when you and I spoke. Not to put you on the spot here, but did we maybe say that we might be able to screen the trailer at the Nightlight event coming up?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect. So for everyone that's coming and that we've talked about it last week.
There's more information on our Facebook about that event.
Yes.
Please do buy your tickets.
So if you are coming to the Nightlight event, which is next week Saturday, 24th of November at the Industrial Coffee Works, we will be screening the trailer for Hell Trip. So
yes.
And that concludes our interview with our guests here in studio, Patrick and George Garcia. Thank you guys so much. But now it's time for our favorite game. It's called Oh Snap.
Oh snap!
For the first time listeners, every week our guests participate in a little game, and we throw some random words at them that the guest has to then reciprocate another word back. They've got 60 seconds on the time, and they have to answer whatever's relevant towards the word that we give them.
As soon as possible, yeah. So the guest has to answer as many as they can within 60 seconds. And yes, we have a scoreboard. So at the end of a season, the guests with the highest score receive our exclusive Let's Talk Showbiz hamper.
But because there are two people, we'll do you guys both. So you both will.
They both be doing words.
No. We'll do them separately.
So 2 games.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Oh,
Okay. So remember, you cannot say pass with a word. Okay, but I promise it's clean.
You can't say skip.
You can't say skip. You have to answer, and if you answer something that's wrong, like it's irrelevant or you took longer than 3 or 5 seconds to answer, it's out.
So you'll be interrupted by a oh snap, and then you have to keep going without laughing.
So it's like to give you a demonstration, it will be something like shirt,
red,
toothpaste,
blue,
color toothbrush,
red,
favorite food,
spaghetti.
Okay, so something like that.
Relevant.
So as long as it's relevant.
Yeah.
Way.
So we throw stuff at you, and you just have to answer something back that's relevant. Wow. 60 seconds, and there's a time board. So we're gonna start. Who wants to go first?
Thanks. Yeah, cool.
Should we do them separately or together?
Separately is more fun.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Color.
Blue.
Favorite food.
Spaghetti.
Film.
Hell Trip.
Water.
Drink.
Fruit.
Apple.
Horror.
Hell Trip.
Toy Story.
4. Book. Armageddon.
Gold.
Expensive.
Toothbrush.
Pink.
Favorite season. Winter, spring.
Summer.
Last meal you had.
Wow. Breakfast.
New York.
Big Apple.
Sport.
Cricket.
Table Mountain.
Flat Top.
TV series.
Strongman.
Island.
Muda.
Chocolate.
Cadbury's.
Superhero.
Iron Man.
Fire.
Hot.
Hollywood.
LA.
Car.
Mazda.
And time's up. Oh snap.
Shit. Oh no, guys, you picked me on the worst.
That was good. Yeah, I'll do that and then I'll continue. Cool. Okay, that was good. Okay,
So now we're gonna swap it
Now
around.
it's Patrick's time. You ready, Patrick? Okay, give the timer. And cell phone.
Nokia.
Industry hero.
Stan Lee.
Favorite drink.
Lemonade.
Wakanda.
Marvel.
Transport.
Transporter.
Animation.
Pixar.
Bag.
Carry on.
Socks. Socks.
Secret Socks.
Flower.
Lily.
Marvel.
Captain America.
Board game.
Chess.
Color.
Blue.
Favorite food.
Pizza.
Horror.
Haltrip.
Water.
Bon Aqua.
Fruit.
Apple.
Book.
Armageddon.
Toothbrush.
Follicle.
Last meal you had.
Scrambled egg.
Scrambled eggs. There you go.
Damn,
Thumbs up. Well done.
Follicle.
I didn't even expect anyone to go there. Most people go to color.
You know, we've been working on
That was
Body
beautiful.
Defenders, which is a micro movie.
Follicle. No, it was interesting. Like, oh, you went to much more logic, factual answers.
Yeah, because normally people, if you say toothbrush, they'll-
Socks. Secret socks. It made my day. Yes.
And that concludes our episode for today. Nice and fun here. Thank you guys so much, Patrick and George, for joining us in studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
It's been fantastic to have you guys with us and to hear all about your amazing and industry ventures and all about the work that you're doing for the industry.
# watch this space.
For everyone out there, you can follow Patrick and George on their Instagram handles. I know, Patrick, you are at Patrick Director, right? George, what's your handle?
It's just George Garcia ZA.
Perfect. And they are on Facebook, right? If people want to connect. And you can also visit their website if you want to see what's going on with their work.
Yes. So just to remind everybody that is still listening, if you came in late, the first 10 people to inbox us win their share of tickets for the Haltrip screening.
That's
So be sure to do that. So next week in studio, we have the amazing South African singer, Armand Joubert.
It's Armand Joubert, who was on The Voice Season 2, The Voice South Africa Season 2. His music has not only been charting extremely well on radio and Billboard chart, but he has also been doing great commercially, not to mention he is kind, sincere, attractive, but unfortunately taken everyone, sorry. And he is ambitious about his work and making an impact in the industry. So he's joining us next week in studio, so make sure that you tune in.
And that's all we have for today on Let's Talk Showbiz. It's a good life. Don't forget to do what you love and love what you do. Tune in next Friday at 11:30. Keep it real and slay.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. Brandlive.co.za. Harnessing the power of talk radio. Power of talk radio. Power of talk radio. Power of